Hi, everyone. It's Margaret Manning here with 60andMe. Hope that you're doing great wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for being here. It means so much to me to know that you're out there. You know, we are a big community now, 150 countries. We've got over 400,000 women that reach our website every day. We have channels all over on Facebook, of course. We have a YouTube channel now, which is really doing well. And most importantly, there's a conversation going on about aging. Now, we are here at 60andMe to shatter some of the stereotypes about aging. And I'm always fascinated by people that are doing a similar thing and who are supporting women as they get older and encouraging us to be proud of our age and to stand up and be, be confident and passionate and purposeful about our lives. Now, my tea this morning, I must tell you, this is a fun one. It was a little gift, actually. Somebody gave me this Wittard apple, is apple, elderflower, and a rustle of rose, it says on the bottom. And I was expecting it to be like a, sort of simple tea, clear, but it's actually turned out to be purple and red. And I think that's kind of symbolic or representative of this conversation today, because I want to talk to you about disrupting aging, about how we can be proud of our age and how we can, see it as a time of opportunity and of confidence rather than a time where we're worried about the future. Now, there's a person that I would like to introduce you to in this conversation who I actually saw speak about, maybe 5 or 6 years ago at an advertising event in New York. Her name is Cindy Gallup. Now, some of you may know Cindy Gallup from various places. She's very outspoken, very well known in the advertising world. She had a very impactful influence there years ago. But she left that job and started her own business. And she shook the world about 2 or 3 years ago when she stood up on a TED stage and did a TED talk, launching a new product that she, came a website that she created called Make Love Not Porn. And it's about sexuality. It's about changing views of sexuality. And she's got some pretty, I would say radical, by normal, quotes, standards, views about sexuality. And she made a big impact. She likes to blow stuff up, she says. And it's, her life is, full of ways to get people thinking, get them acting in shattering, not just breaking, but shattering stereotypes. In that case, it was about sexuality. But she's now trying to move that to her conversations about aging. And she's actually an ambassador for AARP on this new initiative called Disrupt Aging. And she is speaking out about ways that men and women can challenge and combat these aging stereotypes. And in the article that I've read, it's a really interesting article. It's like 7 smart ways to combat ageism. What you can do to actually change the way that people think about older people. And I think we bring this on ourselves sometimes. We talk about invisibility. We talk about, being not listened to or not having an influence. But Cindy is really trying to shatter that myth. And I admire her a lot. I actually connect with her on Facebook. I follow her travels and her initiatives to get things off the ground that are going to get people thinking about aging. And she says, loud and proud her age and encourages us to do the same. So here are the 7 things that Cindy Gallup talks about in terms of aging and just how we can disrupt it. And, she starts off by saying, I'm the happiest I've ever been. I really would never be young again. I love being older. So people just don't, care. She doesn't give a damn what people think. That's what she says out loud. And she, it's true. We can dress the way we want. We can create our own style. We can just do what we want. Honestly, who's judging? When you're over 60, yes, you may be not visible in the same way, but you can still be active and dynamic, and you can still be you. And this is what Cindy is really trying to talk about too. Yeah, there's lots of challenges, but when AARP asked her, what is the one thing that we can do to combat aging or to disrupt aging? And she said, well, there's one thing, and that is we can change the way that older people are depicted in advertising. And of course, this is where she came from. This is her advertising world. But if you think about it, there are so many of the advertising agencies in the world are run by men. They've got creative directors, whole teams of men trying to put together advertising message and, images for for women. And and Cindy would argue, and I do agree with her, that some of the images that we see on in advertising related to older people are very contradictory. They're very inaccurate. They're just not truthful. And so, how on earth can you, feel good about aging when everywhere you look, you're surrounded by a youthful, dynamic? So she said, what can you do? Well, here's some of her tips, Cindy Gallup's tips. And I really appreciate that she is putting it out there so boldly. And, I'm going to give you a warning. Cindy's not for everyone. She's not, you could use the words brash, outspoken, she's aggressive in some ways about her beliefs. But I'm just going to lay it out there for you, and you can make up your own mind. And, I think she's got some super valuable suggestions. Number one, scream your age from the top of the tallest building. Just say it out loud. Cindy says, I'm 59. She's not quite 60 yet. She's 59. But she says people say age is just a number. Well, it is just a number, but it's an important number. And we shouldn't, minimize it by saying, oh, it's just a number. It doesn't matter. It does matter. It matters that you say your age. Now, I am 70 years old. I turned 70 this year. I am really, honestly happy to be 70. I'm happy to say it. And even though we're 60 in me, it's like anyone over 60. And that includes 70, 80, 90, beyond. So Cindy says, it's the sum total of who you are. Don't hide your age. Shout it out. So how old are you? Would you put it down in the comment section below? Would you say it? Just by starting there, it may be nerve-wracking at first, but when you say it the first few times, it's okay. And as I said earlier, and Cindy says, no one cares. It doesn't really matter that you be yourself. The next thing that she talks about is talking about loss and death. And I think there's like some taboo subjects that nobody wants to talk about, right? Death is one of them, sex is another, and aging is as a third one. But she says, talk about all these things just as part of the conversation. Embrace aging. I was just actually going to share one of the cards from our deck of inspirational cards that we put together. This one, share your losses. In sharing your losses and talking about death and about, put a little description on the back of what this is all about. Having this conversation is super important because it's one more taboo that we can address and embrace and live with. Another thing that Cindy talks about is stop saying for your age. I feel pretty good for my age. I look pretty good. Or if someone gives you a compliment, says, you look really great for your age. Try to challenge that. Say, I look my age. I am my age. I'm 70. I look my age. I have the wrinkles. I have the changes in my body. I have the psychological changes, the emotional changes. Go ahead and say it. No, I look my age, and I'm proud of that. And it's okay. It's okay to look your age and to own up to it. Another thing that she talks about is this whole total obsession with youth. And she talks about, for example, in advertising, the Evian, the spray and water company, they say that one of their current advertising campaigns was live younger or live young. And Cindy's saying, well, why say that? It should be live older. It should be live. But, why not say live older? That's really where a lot of this population is. We've got thousands, millions of boomers. And why should we always focus on living younger? Live older. It's okay. And I love this energy around this disrupt aging movement. And if you are on Twitter or any of these social channels, you'll see this hashtag disrupt aging everywhere. And Cindy's, of course, promoting it as an ambassador for AARP, which is as pretty mainstream as you can get in the States when it comes to aging. I love that they're coming together. So anyway, you know what you like, you know your style, you know what you over the years developed as you. So just shout it out and be proud to live older. Be happy to live older. Another thing is to reinvent yourself. I think there's so many women who make the decision that after a certain age, there's no reinvention. We can't try something new. We can't, rediscover our sensuality, our sexuality, or our bodies. That we have to put that to one side. Like we've done that. We've done that. Cindy is very outspoken about her sexuality, about the fact she dates younger men. She dates men in their 20s and 30s. She's in her almost 60. And she is like, this is the greatest time of my life, that I have, men who respect me, who are friends. She really works on that aspect of her sexuality, and she's out there. And I think that in a way, she's an example, maybe of a extreme on the spectrum, but I think that we all, in my opinion, should be challenged by what's possible and not by what is not possible in our lives. So Cindy feels that the economy would boom if we could just get women in advertising, get them out there doing advertising and messaging that speaks to the truth of aging, how beautiful it can be, how exciting it can be, and how powerful, how it can really contribute to the well-being of the universe. How we can actually, that's a big statement, to the world, but how we can actually help younger women and men. I know the friends that I've made who are in their 20s and 30s are really grateful for what we bring to them, for our experience, our passion, our knowledge. So, and Cindy will never not close a discussion with saying, make love. If you don't want to make love physically, make love in your life. And she says, she's really happy with being old and would never choose any other way. Oh, there is one final thing that she says, and it kind of links back to something I just said about age, hanging out with people younger than you. Some of my best friends now are the nomads that I met on the Nomad cruise. 20s, 30s, great people. I love them to bits. And we can be coaches and mentors to each other. And that's coaches and mentors both ways. So I think making friends of all ages is super important too. So I hope that you have enjoyed this conversation. It's one that I've enjoyed doing because I'm excited that there are people like Cindy out there doing raising the conversation, and I hope that you can incorporate it into your life as well. I would love your comments on this. So please leave them in the section below. How do you think that we can disrupt aging? How can women in the 60andMe community, how can we work together to challenge the stereotypes, shatter the myths, and disrupt aging? Look forward to your comments. I will join the conversation for sure. And thank you again for being here. Thank you so much for your support. Check out our website, 60andme.com, and all our channels. And subscribe to the YouTube channel here if you haven't already done that. We really welcome your support, and thank you. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and tell us how you're going to disrupt aging. Bye-bye for now.